welcome to the Avengers Reserve Podcast, episode 4. I am delighted, as always, to be joined by sadboycare. How are you doing today?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm a little bit tired, I won't lie to you.
You always are.
After this, well, yeah, I mean, I always am. It's a regular complaint of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But, so like, as we're recording this, because this will go out tomorrow, I'm then back in for the next 5 days at work, but I was working at my other job all day today on my day off, so like it's good, I enjoy it, but yeah, I need to actually give myself a day off at some point, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You know, it's been alright. But yeah, what you been up to lately?
Not much. I recorded a baseball game yesterday and Saturday for my baseball job, and that's about all I've done this week. So
Not bad, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair enough. Did you manage to check out, because I remember sending you that sort of the update about the What If series.
Yes, I actually did not check that out. I was too busy researching the Eternals.
I would presume that you haven't watched the trailer, because
I didn't even know there was
you
a
were
trailer.
notoriously known for not watching trailers now.
I didn't. Okay,
That's
you never told me there was a trailer, so that's not my fault.
I didn't even know there was a trailer, and it's like 5 months old, so yeah. It's fine. It's not like we're going to assess the trailer or break it down, because it's been out for a while now, and there'll be plenty of other ones out there.
Yeah.
But it's really good. I really like the look of it. The entire concept of it and everything as well. You should definitely check it out at some point.
Yeah. Did you explain to me what it was about? I forget. I feel like
The
I
update,
have like...
or the what if.
Yeah,
Or
just what if is about. Yeah.
So it's basically looking into scenarios in the past of the Marvel Cinematic Universe if certain actions have been taken. I'm trying to just
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
word it so that I don't spoil the trailer about it for you, because when you watch the trailer, there's certain things which you'll pick up on, and it's kind of a bit of a surprise, I suppose.
Yeah. That's like,
like
what I thought it was, but I wasn't entirely sure.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's definitely an interesting one, and I'm excited to see. I'm gonna steal your word here. Is excited. I'm excited to see what happens with that series. How long they can kind of like keep it going and come up with new fresh ideas, because it's, as far as I'm aware, anyway, it doesn't stick to the comic book. Standard that we're getting used to now. Everything is kind of being referred to in the comics.
So it's kind of like
in August, I think.
It's kind of like a parallel universe type thing.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
that's cool. I think that's really interesting. I'm interested to see what they do with that, because there are literally a million possibilities for what that show could be like. So that sounds really cool.
Yeah, you watched Venom as well.
Yes, I did. For the first time? Yeah. Oh, it was so good.
It's good, right?
It was good. I don't know. I just was like not excited for it around the time that it came out, and I also didn't know until I watched I watched the end credit scene, and then they did the credits like super fast, and I don't know if it was just like the thing I was watching it on, like the streaming service I was watching it on or something, but they had what's it called? Into the Multiverse? Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah. They had that at the end, and I was like, oh my god, that came out around the same time. And I literally saw that film in theaters like 3 times, and I didn't see Venom at all.
Yeah, no.
So...
I think this is what we were kind of talking about when we were talking about the last episode, though, is that Venom is kind of like an underrated... I mean, look, like, they've never brought out a movie of Venom, as far as I'm aware. I can't think of any like series, whereas Iron Man, Captain America, like Falcon and the Winter Soldier now have all had these sort of TV series over the years. Venom is a really underrated character. And I personally love the entire storyline.
I do too. I just I thought it was so It was a lot different than I thought it was. Because I saw, like, Spider-Man 3, but I haven't seen it in a while. So I didn't really know the origin of Venom. Like, I didn't really, like, understand, like, how it actually came about. And then I, like, watched it and I was like, oh, okay. So, okay, yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was really cool. I can't get my words out without just being like, yeah. So
no, I think it has shown how much the MCU has really come on, because like in Spider-Man 3, you know, I don't know how much you really remember, but like Venom is a part of it, but not kind of, I don't know, like I don't know if it was done quite the right way or something about it. You know, back then it was just like another suit. It wasn't like the voice that lives in Tom Hardy's head and things like that.
Yeah.
What I like kind of always loved as well about this Venom is that Venom is, I think, as I've mentioned, like considered the loser of the world, and I think it mentions it in the film. It latches onto Eddie because he's, you know, down on his luck, loses his job and all this, blah, blah, blah. And I just love that sort of like connection. Almost kicked my camera over there, but fine.
Yeah, I totally agree. I thought that was like really interesting. I liked that they were both kind of losers, and I liked that he like Venom was like, I'm gonna stay here because I like you, because you're a loser and I'm a loser and we can be friends, kind of thing. I thought that was like really cute. I was like, that's cute. I like that a lot.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. So yeah, that comes out. Sorry, just going to go back to What If quickly to tie that up. That obviously comes out August, but yeah, looking forward to it really. And glad you enjoyed Venom, because we can look forward to talking about that at a later date.
Definitely,
And I think we'll probably do a What If like preview breakdown in a couple of episodes time when it's closer to the release date. And I look forward to just hearing your reaction to that trailer as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I didn't even know there was a trailer. So
I think it is one of those that is just kind of like flew under the radar though. Maybe because it's an animated series and it's not.
Yeah.
You know, like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision had a lot of promotion. But
yeah, I heard of it like around like the D23 when they announced everything, and then I just kind of forgot about it. But that's also kind of how I was with the Eternals as well, because like I just didn't know anything about it. And like another example of it, like back in like 2014 when the first Guardians of the Galaxy came out, my cousin was telling me about it, and I was like, okay, but it doesn't happen to our world, so why should I care, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it was like a new group of people, and I was like, this isn't really connected. And he was like, it's gonna connect, I promise. And I was like, okay. So I think that like I need to kind of branch out a little bit more, like with Venom too. Like Venom, I was just kind of like, but
I think it's just timing though, isn't it? Like timing is now a good time. Now is a good time to like bring the Eternals into the MCU mix. And I think Venom was probably just about right. Like it was still sort of in the hype of Infinity War and Endgame, and just the MCU's blockbusters in general. And look forward to seeing where that goes. But as we were kind of like moving on to the Eternals, we're obviously going to do this whole character in depth. I don't know if you call it a breakdown or what are we going to call this?
I don't
Analysis?
I guess.
There's only like so much that we can really do on these characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to brainstorm when we finish this episode to actually decide on what we can call it. But
a title for
we're going to go with just characters in depth. I don't think I ever wrote it down, or I put in depth look at, but it just sounds a bit funny to me. I've actually got the synopsis up here, so we'll just kind of read through that so that everybody kind of has some understanding, as well as ourselves. So, after an unexpected tragedy following the events of Avengers Endgame, the Eternals, an immortal alien race created by the Celestials, who have secretly lived on Earth for over 7,000 years, reunite to protect humanity from their evil counterparts, the Deviants. There's some sort of mystique around that synopsis for me, but I don't know if that's just me as a I don't even know. Like, I would call myself a Marvel enthusiast to some extent, but I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. Like, I do think it's kind of vague. Because they said, like, after an event, they just show up. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
You know? Like, it doesn't really, like, explain anything. And I guess that's kind of the point when, like, you're trying to promote a movie. You don't want to, like, tell the entire plot of the movie. But
yeah.
I feel like they could have told us a little bit more.
yeah. Like, this is the thing as well, is that, like, we're obviously still waiting on the trailer. And I'm hoping that the trailer will, you know, give us a lot more information than the synopsis currently gives us. Because it's just a bit, I don't know. Like, look, I'm going to be excited to see it when it does show up, because the characters sound absolutely amazing. The cast is brilliant. But I think as, you know, the general audience, to get them excited, like, I think they need to just, I don't know, come out with something. I'm hoping that the trailer will, you know, give a lot more information on what's actually happening.
I don't know. I'm calling it now. I don't think this trailer's going to give us a lot.
I can see
just
that.
Based like on that, I think that it's mostly just going to be kind of like, because first of all, there's so many characters.
That's what I was going to say.
There's so many. So, like, a 2-minute trailer is not going to be long enough to get any kind of, like, substance in it with the amount of characters that are in this film. There's, like, 20. Like, there's so many main characters. So, I don't have, I'm not going to say high hopes, but, like, I don't think that it's going to say a lot about what's going to happen in the film, you know?
I think as well, like you were saying about your cousin who, like, mentioned the Eternals, like, oh, it's all going to tie in. Like, I think it is a bit of a risk. Like, I think, don't get me wrong, the time is right to bring in the Eternals, but it is a bit of a risk, like, bringing all these characters in at the same time. You know, with the Avengers, you have a lot of strong personalities, and they were able to build them through their own different films and then bring them all together. With the Eternals, it's a, you know, the MCU's huge and they never do a bad movie. But yeah, I would say it is a little bit of a risk bringing them all together, you know, for the first time straight away.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Going back to, like, what I said about, like, the Guardians of the Galaxy, that was kind of the same thing. You know, like, where they, like, brought in a bunch of new people. It was only 5. It wasn't, like, 10 to 15 or however many there are in this film. But, like, they did do that, and it went well.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm not worried about how it's going to tie in. I think that they'll be able to tie it in, like, fine. Because Marvel knows their shit. Like, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. That's the thing.
So.
It's like, it's risky, but it's not risky because it's Marvel.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
they know what they're doing by now. And they've had many, many successes with, you know, most of them, most of their published work. So, yeah, I look forward to just seeing a trailer, really. I think it's not obviously going to give us the clarification that we need, but I think there's still going to be some sort of, like, Easter eggs and things like that that we can kind of take away from, just like Venom, I suppose. The Venom 2 trailer, like, we managed to analyse the shit out of that trailer. And
that's true.
I think there's just going to be very small bits like that. It doesn't have to necessarily be about the Eternals, but there'll just be some bits in there that we can take away from it.
That's true. I feel like they know what they're doing. I think whether they, like, add on to the synopsis with the trailer or not, people are still going to be excited about it because it's like new faces in the MCU, you know?
Right. Okay, so now we're going to do an in-depth look at all of the characters from the Eternals. So I think we're just going to start off with Icarus, played by Richard Madden. Has the power to fly and project red beams of cosmic energy from his eyes. I think I remember you saying as well, just before we started, that a lot of the characters do have similar powers, but Icarus sounds pretty cool.
Except for the fact that he has very similar powers to Fina.
Yes.
It's basically the exact same thing. I was like reading through all of the character descriptions and like all of their powers and everything. They're literally all the same. They basically all have the same power. Like literally every single one. It's all just like they manipulate cosmic energy, and a lot of them do it in like different ways, but it's still just the same thing, except for I was telling you about the one guy who just has a mystical sword. He's a human with a mystical sword. Like they all have like this crazy cosmic power, and like they're basically eternal and all of this stuff, and then just the one guy with the sword. I just thought that was so funny. But
I bet he's
yeah,
gonna look cool as fuck though. To be fair,
yeah,
the guy with the sword.
He better be. He better be.
You still haven't seen X-Men as well, have you? Because obviously, when I read like red beams of cosmic energy from his eyes, Cyclops, Cyclops was
okay.
That springs straight to mind. So I think it just, I don't know. Like, look, there's only so many superpowers that you can come up with, and I think the point of the Eternals is that they're all going to have similar powers. But I like that somebody's got a similar power to Cyclops specifically, because he's a very cool character in the X-Men.
Yeah. I don't know anything about him, so but it does. That is like a typical superhero power that we haven't seen yet in the MCU. Mm-hmm. Like, we've seen it, like, outside of the MCU, but, like, in the MCU, we haven't had a person who can shoot lasers out of their eyes. Which is, like...
Yeah.
That's new. But, like, all of them can do very similar things. I don't know. I feel like they probably can't, but, like, I mean, they all just, like, kind of manipulate cosmic energy in, like, a different way.
Yeah.
Which I guess since they were created by something called Celestials, it makes sense that all of their powers just revolve around cosmic energy. But
yeah. I think there's more research to look into the Celestials at a later date as well.
Yeah.
Because yes, it has come up like once or twice, I'm pretty sure, and I've definitely heard of it. But yeah, the only thing that I really remember from the Eternals, or maybe it was the Celestials, was because of the potential of Galactus, who could have like come into the MCU as Phase 4. Obviously, we don't know if that's going to happen yet or not.
I feel like you talked to me about
you not heard about
Galactus.
Yeah,
but
Bryan
I don't...
Cranston was like a potential to be cast as him, but I don't think they're heading in that direction anymore.
Okay. I know you talked to me about it, but I don't remember anything about him.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
he like destroys planets. That is what I can remember. Like,
okay.
He's a huge villain in the MCU.
Okay.
But yeah, anything else to add on Icarus?
Not really. I just think it's very kind of predictable that like the leader is just like a guy with super strength. And he can shoot beams out of his eyes, but he's also a guy with super strength, which is like, I don't know. I find that to be like the most boring superpower ever.
Yeah.
But the beams make up for it. The beams in the eyes make up for it. So.
Yeah. I think it's it's going to be interesting to see how he performs that as well. Like Richard Madden is a name that doesn't spring to mind straight away. I don't know. I'll have to like Google him afterwards or something like that.
He's Scottish. Apparently.
Okay, I've heard of him, but I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him in anything before.
Yeah.
Oh, he was in Game of Thrones.
Nah, still haven't seen it.
I mean, me neither, but it makes more sense now why he would be cast. Because that's a big title.
I mean, there is just some big stars in it, but yeah. We'll move on to then Cersei, who's played by Gemma Chan. Possesses the ability to manipulate cosmic energy to augment her life force, granting her virtual invulnerability and immortality. The ability to project cosmic energy from her eyes or hands in the form of heat, light, or concussive force, and possibly other powers.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a lot to just throw into one character that is Cersei.
Oh, okay. Again, every single one of them has at least one of those things.
Yeah. Okay, so I do get that, like, a lot of the characters have very similar powers, but it just seems that, like, a lot has just been, like, thrown into this one character.
Yeah. That is a lot for one person. But, like, I mean, it kind of goes back to, like, what you were saying, how, like, they were all kind of created by the same, like, entities, I guess.
Entity, yeah.
Yeah, so... No, the Celestials. That's, like...
Yes.
More than one entity.
Yeah. Oh.
Anyway.
It's fine. It's just make it easier. Yeah.
But, so they were all kind of created by, like, the same thing. So, it makes sense that they would all have very similar powers, but, like, one that has, like, every single one of them is, like... It's interesting. And also, it's kind of... I don't know, because Kevin Feige said that this is going to be, like, she's going to be, like, the main role, pretty much. Like, she's going to be, like, the lead character.
Yeah.
Or, like, she should be. So, like, I get it, kind of. But, like, I just wish that the other Eternals didn't have just one of every power that she has.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah, that kind of moves in nicely into Ajak, because Ajak is the only one who has a power that all the others, because she's the only one capable of communicating with the Celestials when they're nearby. And I think that's going to be a really interesting way to, like, view that character specifically when the film comes out, I think.
I agree. I think that's kind of cool. I think that's really cool.
I think Salma Hayek will get her well-deserved screen time in the film. You know, I think she's going to have some sort of, like, very unique moments where she can speak to the Celestials, and yeah, like, I don't know, I like that about her character.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, like, why they would speak to them in the first place. You know? Because, like, I don't know. Like, I it's literally right on my screen, but I didn't read that part when I was looking into that character. I just don't know. Like, I'm excited. I'm excited to see, like, the actual reason why they would need to speak to them. Because it either means that they're doing something wrong, or there's, like, a bigger problem that they need to go deal with, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, that kind of, like, opens doors for, like, bigger storylines, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be a lot of intrigue around it. Like I said, like, at the moment, the Eternals, for, you know, generic fans, it's a mystery. And I like that. And I think there's going to be a lot of explanation needed to make it a very successful film. Like we've already mentioned, like, have no doubt that Marvel's going to be able to do it, but I think that is going to be one of the major things, like, why is she communicating with the Celestials? So, yeah, definitely look forward to that. But love Salma Hayek. You know, really nice girl. Know her personally.
Yeah. Of course you do.
Okay, so we'll move on to Fina, played by Angelina Jolie, finally gets her appearance in MCU. Cannot wait to see her. Been described as a fierce warrior capable of using cosmic energy to form weapons. Did you ever see the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raiders?
No.
Okay, because they were pretty good films. I really enjoyed them, and I think she was a very perfect fit for that. And I think from her character description, I think she could do really well in this. Not just because I'm a major Angelina Jolie fan, but have seen her work in the past, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like good vibes from that, I suppose, showing that she can.
I think I've only seen that once, but
oh my god, I love that film. Absolutely
I know.
Love that film.
Everyone I've ever spoken to about that film has been like, "How have you only watched it once?" And I don't even actually know if I have watched it once because I don't remember anything from it, but I think I've watched it once.
It is a really good film, but I think Angelina Jolie, I think she's been cast very well. I don't know where else she really would have gone. I mean, she is a very what is the correct way to word it, like highly paid actress, just in Hollywood in general. So I don't know, it's going to be fun to just see her in there. I love her powers. It's very similar to most of the others.
But it's like it's pretty different. Like it's different enough.
It's a little bit different because it's creating something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She creates her weapons, and I think that'll work.
It's
quite
kind
nicely.
of giving me like, maybe it's just because I just watched Venom, but you know how like Venom can like make his like arm like a really long pointy thing?
Yeah.
Like it's giving me like that kind of vibe.
Yeah, I mean, the image that I kind of like had in my head was just like, with Iron Man when he gets nanotechnology and he can sort of like create a shield that like comes out of nowhere, things like that. Yeah, I can see it as being a similar sort of thing like that. And I think it's I think it's going to suit her down to the ground. Can't wait to see her.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Kingo, who is played by Kumail Nanjiani. The correct term, as we have already mentioned, he is a master student of the samurai, and he becomes the most talented man on Earth with a sword. That's what it said in the comics. And I know like we kind of gave him some stick earlier on about like he's got a sword. I think his character is the interesting one.
I do think like the fact that it's not just like a guy with a sword, it's like a highly trained samurai makes it a little bit better. He's not just a guy who has a sword. He's like very highly trained, and I'm assuming he's going to be on par with the rest of them, or else they wouldn't have like been like, I don't know. Unless he wouldn't be a part of the group, basically. Like, if he wasn't on par, technically, I guess.
What I would love to see as well is obviously Kingo and, like, Deadpool have a face-off. Because Deadpool is meant to be taking over the Stan Lee cameos, but I don't know if he'll make it into the Eternals. But, regardless, I think I would just love to see that in the future. Just because they both come from that similar samurai background,
Yeah, I think that could be interesting.
Right?
Yeah. I feel like that would also be very funny.
Yeah.
Because it's Deadpool.
I'm hoping that Kingo can kind of mirror the sort of like comedy aspect that Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool can give us. That's what I'm really looking for here. And I think he'll be able to do that. I'm not entirely too sure on this. This isn't like a confirmation, but I think that... So they're all like living lives on Earth, right? I was going to say England. They're all living their own lives. What's it called? Like undercover people. But I think Kingo is the one who is a Bollywood actor to live a low... What is the word that I'm looking for? Like keep a low profile, basically. Trying to keep a low profile, but he's a Bollywood actor. So I get the sense that he is going to be a quite comedic character.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's probably going to be one of my
Yeah.
favorites. I look forward to seeing how they're going to do that.
It says, even in the Wikipedia page that was wrong about his power, says that the actor wanted his performance to be like a wisecracking attitude type guy.
Good,
So,
good, yes.
yeah.
Okay. I love that. Absolutely love it.
Let's hope
okay,
that's
so we'll
right.
move on. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Macquarie, played by
Yes.
Lauren Ridloff, possesses superhuman strength, speed, and reflexes. She can create cyclones by running in circles and can run up walls and across water. Thoughts?
She seems interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I like that it's, like, not just she's fast. Like,
Yeah.
she can, like, do cool things with it, you know?
I'm sensing that, like, the theme of the Eternals is that they have a, like, major power, but that's not the entirety of them. And I think, that kind of applies quite strongly to Macquarie. You know, she obviously has, like, superhuman strength. She's got the speed and everything, but it's not just that she can just run around and things like that. But, you know, she can create cyclones, which I think is going to be really, really cool to see in the movie when it finally comes out.
Yeah. That should be really cool.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move on to Fastos. We're going to try and speed through them quickly because otherwise this could end up being a really, really quick, really long episode.
Really long.
Fastos, who is played by Brian Tyree Henry. The sort of like description that I have of him is quite interesting because he's going to be like the tech guy of the Eternals. You know, so sort of a Tony Stark, Rocket from the Guardians of the Galaxy. I like that. I really like that there's someone who's, you know, probably going to be a little bit witty, a little bit smart, probably will come off as a bit of a know-it-all.
I also think that every team kind of needs one, you know? Like you said, like, you gave me two examples of, like, two of the techies of, like, two groups of MCU characters already. I think that that's, like, a really good, like, it's something that any team of characters, even in real life, if they were doing this, they would probably need someone who's a little bit techie. So I like that. I always like the techie characters too. Because like you said, they are like witty and like they don't take people's shit really. They just kind of like, they're like, I'm smart and I know I'm smart, so shut up and let me do my thing and then thank me later. Thank you. Bye. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see this version of like a techie character, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And I look forward to just kind of seeing, you know, not necessarily like fill the shoes because we've mentioned this a lot, but just to have another edition of a tech person in the MCU, you know? Doesn't necessarily have to fill the shoes of Tony Stark, but it's just good to have another one who, you know, can probably have some screen time with other people and, like I mentioned earlier, come across as a bit of a know-it-all. I'm hoping it just has that energy that Rocket and previously Iron Man have had.
Yeah, very true.
Okay, so next is Gilgamesh, who is played by Don Lee. Possesses a number of superhuman abilities. Shocker. Common to the Eternals is what I forgot to add on. But has trained some of them far beyond the norm. So while the exact limits are unknown, his immense superhuman strength makes him the physically strongest of all known Eternals. So essentially the strongest character that we're going to see in this film. Do you think he's going to have a sort of massive part in the film though?
Yes. The answer to your question is yes. So in this little description that I have of him, it also says that he becomes Fina's partner in exile from the other Eternals. And since we think that Angelina Jolie is most likely going to have a giant role in this film, I do think that Gilgamesh is going to have a decent amount of screen time. And I also think that that's, like... I like that he's, like, the strongest... He kind of gives me, like, a Hulk vibe, you know? Like, he's got, like, an exoskeleton of cosmic energy, kind of the way that, like, Banner... I mean, it's, like, against Banner's will, but, like, Banner has the Hulk to protect him. Which is basically if you think about it, it's basically just a exoskeleton of gamma energy.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it's kind of like, it kind of gives me, like, a Hulk vibe. I think that's an interesting... I like that they have, like, their own Hulk kind of character. I think that's going to be really cool.
Yeah, and I really liked your analysis there, actually. There's a good sort of, like, comparison to make. One that I haven't really thought about too much. The only... I wouldn't really call it a problem, but the only kind of thing that I take away from it is, and generally just, like, why I asked the question is, it's just been proven in the past, and don't get me wrong, like, it's, you know, been a while. It's hard to kind of give, I don't know, not necessarily the screen time, but make the characters as big as they are when they're, like, some of the strongest characters. Hulk, you know, his own films being a prime example.
Yeah.
It was difficult to kind of, like, just display that entire journey of the Hulk in one film. And this is obviously with multiple characters.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, because, like, I don't know... Because now I'm just picturing, like, a purple Hulk. So, like, I need to, like, actually look up a picture of this guy so that I can get a better...
I think it's... Yeah.
Like...
I think the important thing to mention as well, though, is that, like, it could just work a lot better than Hulk's previous movies. Obviously, we're not talking about Gilgamesh getting his own film.
No, yeah. But and the thing is, too, I feel like
and Hulk was the best in the Avengers.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I feel like he always had... The character of Hulk itself did so much better when it was surrounded by other characters than when it was just on its own. So I think... I really hope that they build Gilgamesh the same way, you know? Like, I hope that they kind of, like, I'm assuming they see that parallel, and they kind of, like, will put it in the way, like, wherever it actually fits, to make it so that it's kind of, like, Hulk storyline, where, like, you don't need a standalone film to understand what's going on with this character, you know?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah, no, I think I'd take it back. I think it could work really well, and, be interesting to see how he works with Angelina Jolie, because I feel like that's a nice balance, that she's probably the second strongest. I like to think that Angelina Jolie is the second strongest. We'll see.
I think probably. I also, as soon as I made that, as soon as I saw that it was, like, Fina's partner in exile, and then I also made the connection to the Hulk, I just keep thinking of Black Widow Hulk situation.
Hulk. Yeah.
So, I'll be interested to see if it actually plays out that way, or if it's, like, a different kind of dynamic. I'm hoping it's a different kind of dynamic.
Yeah. It would kind of be repeating it.
Yeah.
And Black Widow and the Hulk never really got any closure as well, so it was a bit... Yeah,
I thought it was weird. It was never really my thing. Anyway.
Yeah. On to Sprite, not to be confused with this popular soft drink. Played by Leah McHugh. Sprite's shape-shifting abilities enable her to be the jokester of the group. Despite her appearance as a young child, Sprite is actually incapable of aging in the comics. Interesting feature. When I saw the actress that plays Sprite, Yeah, I was a little bit confused, as in, why is there a
Yeah.
little child?
I like the gist of that character. I like the synopsis
Mm-hmm.
of that character. I think it's... Because it's also very... Like you said, like, you wouldn't expect it. But also... Yeah, I guess, like, you wouldn't expect it. Like, we wouldn't expect it, but also... A villain wouldn't expect it. Like, if they just, like,
Yeah.
saw a 12-year-old child, they wouldn't be like... They wouldn't be like, oh, that child's gonna hurt me. You know?
Yeah. I think kind of what I'm expecting from her character is, and I'm trying to word this carefully because it's not probably going to come out right, but you know in Deadpool 1, you've got Teenage Warhead.
Yes.
And you know that sort of different dynamic that it gives, as in it's a moody teenager and things like that, and it kind of reflects differently on Deadpool, right? I'm not saying that like it's going to be exactly like Teenage Warhead's character. That would be silly, but I think it's just going to have that kind of... Like, they seem like they don't fit in, almost.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I think I've worded that right.
Yeah. The only thing is, though, like, in the synopsis it says, like, this character's, like, unable to age. So... Even
Is
though
she
they
just
appear,
a very mature
yeah,
teenager?
that's what I was gonna say. Even though they appear to be a young child, it doesn't mean that they're going to act like a child. You know?
I suppose.
Like
I guess I'm just trying to look at it.
I think that they're gonna like kind of switch it up and like make it to be like an adult stuck in a child's body kind of thing. And I think that I just got, like, a picture of what they're gonna do with it. Like, I feel like the most, like, sassy she'll ever get is, like, when people treat her like a child. And she'll be like, I'm not a child. Like, you are not allowed to speak to me like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's a very interesting character. Like, that's probably the most...
It's just because she's going to be so different to the others in that way that you're going to expect her to. Until if she does come across as a very mature sort of like young person, then fair play. I just kind of see it as like if you were stuck in your sort of like, you know, teenage body or, you know, the age we are now, like, would you ever mature? I don't think I would. That's kind of why I think about it. I'd be like, yeah, I'm young forever, like, no responsibilities, anything like that. You know?
I don't know. Because I think the thing is, though, like, just because... Like, experiences mature you more than, like, age. Or, like, your looks, you know? So, like, just because you look the same and, like, you're basically immortal and you always look like you're, 25? Like, that doesn't mean that you're always going to have the brain of a 25-year-old.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because, like, you're going to experience new things and learn new things about the world, kind of thing. So. Yeah,
going to be interesting. I mean, they all are young for how old they actually are, but it's going to be particularly interesting to see a 7,000-year-old teenager.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, so we're on to the last character now, which is Droog, played by Barry. I don't know how to say it. Keoghan?
I'm dyslexic. So your guess is as good as mine.
In the comments, it's fine.
I'm literally dyslexic, so you're asking the wrong person.
But yeah, so Droog, obviously, he's kind of seen as like the outsider in the Eternals in a way. He disagrees with kind of everything that they're doing, how they're interacting with humans and living I'm forgetting how to say it again, like living a low life. Low profile. What is the word?
Low profile.
That's the one. Low profile. Living their low profile lives.
I don't. It's literally just the name. I'm just gonna say this now. I know why I'm thinking this. It's actually just the name, but it's giving me like Drax vibes.
Drax vibes, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's fair. I had exactly the same.
I think it's the name and also the fact that like he's kind of like on the outside a little bit. Like, you know how Drax just kind of like does whatever the hell he wants?
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that's the vibe I'm getting off the bat. Don't know anything about him because we don't read the comics, but I feel like a lot of this team is like a mix between Guardians of the Galaxy and the original Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, I feel like you could put an Avenger or a Guardian to every single one of these characters.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
So, I'm intrigued to see how they make them a little bit different.
Yeah.
And obviously they're different characters. Like, I'm not saying they're the exact same characters. Like, I understand that they're going to be different. But, like, off the bat, not knowing anything about them before this, like, I think that they sound like characters that I already like, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't think that I'm not going to like any of them.
Yeah, I think with Droog specifically, like, it's just got that potential to kind of, like, be a bit of a shit stirrer is the word that I'm thinking of, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gonna create
like
some
Drax.
sort of animosity amongst the team and sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Drax, when he, like, calls Ronan to, like, come to the planet.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Stone.
Or when he tried to kill Thanos by himself for no reason in Infinity War.
Yeah. Like, yeah, there's just... I can see it a very similar role. I don't know if he'll be quite as crazy as Drax, because, he comes across as a kind of smart guy with the, like, mind control, mind-bending abilities.
Yeah.
I think
the
that's
motivation
what he's
of, like... The motivation of, like, not wanting to interact with humans rather than, like, trying to avenge his family kind of thing. Like, I think that motivation is obviously going to make him stand out a lot more. But I also think that we'll see him, like, probably go into a store and, like, steal something and then, like, be like, tell the shop owner to, like, just forget about it kind of thing. Because, like, it seems like there's, like, an animosity towards human beings in that character.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
and, like, I think his powers make him a very interesting character. What I would like to see, as we were talking earlier about Kingo and Deadpool, character that I would love to see Droog mirror is Loki. Just from sort of what we've seen so far, right?
Yeah. You know I love
both
Loki.
Have kind of, both have their kind of like mind control abilities.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think that would work really well.
Oh, yeah. I didn't make that parallel, but now I see that a lot more. Oh, that would be really cool. That made me, like, so happy. Yeah,
okay.
I like that.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I don't feel like there was much more really to touch on Droog, so I think we're done. I don't know. Did you have anything else?
Not really. I think we touched on everything that I knew about anyone, and a lot more because I didn't research as much as you did. But
I think that was, it seems like an in-depth because we have spoken them for I don't even know how long. Like it'll probably
I
be
think
close
like
to an
40
hour
minutes.
this
Yeah. 40 minutes to an hour.
But yeah, no, I think, and we'll be touching on the Eternals a lot more over the next sort of 5-6 months until it comes out. Because there's going to be a lot more to come out. Why do you think it's taken until now to bring the Eternals into the MCU?
I think, okay, every single thing up until Infinity War was leading to Infinity War and Endgame. everything. So the big monster, like, crazy, what is the word that I want to say? Climax, I guess, to that, to the original storyline was Thanos and defeating Thanos. Like, that was the main purpose of all, like, 18 films that led up to Endgame. Everything led to Endgame. So I think if they had brought in too many characters, they would have lost that plot line a little bit. Yeah, so I think that now that Endgame is over, they have the ability to bring in not only more heroes, but also more, like, crazy, huge bosses. That's what I was going to say. Like, boss-level villains, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, Thanos was the boss of, like, the first 3-4 phases.
Yeah.
And now they have, like... And we touch on this in literally every single episode. But with the multiverse coming around very soon, there are going to be bigger bosses from different universes coming in, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that this would have been too much if they brought it in before Endgame. Because they would have probably lost the plot a little bit for the Thanos storyline.
I suppose,
you know?
Yeah. I suppose I can see why they've done it, because it can be seen as too much, but it's also just... There's gonna need to be some clarification for the Eternals, because I just don't understand why the Eternals wouldn't get involved, you know? And I think we spoke about this a little bit off camera, but it just doesn't make sense to me, you know? Like, there's that big of a boss who's trying to literally wipe out half of the population of the entire galaxy, you would probably see yourself to get involved if you've got as good as these powers that they say they have, you know?
Yes and no. I'm under the assumption that the Celestials are higher beings than the Titans. And that they have more knowledge about the universe and actually, like, the multiverse and what's coming. So I have a feeling that the Celestials probably didn't want them to get involved. You know? They were like, we don't need you for this. Like, you don't have to get involved in this. Like, it's big, but, like, they're gonna work it out themselves. Like, they don't need you yet. But when the deviants come in is when they're gonna need them.
Right.
Because, like I said, I feel like Thanos was a Titan, and like, he was huge or whatever. I think that the deviants and the Celestials are so much bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, they have to be. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But in my head, they are on such a higher level that, like, it's gonna make Thanos look like a child kind of thing, you know?
I hope that's the way that it plays out, yeah. I really do. Because that will just kind of make a lot of sense. And it's a similar sort of Captain Marvel, you know, introduction, I suppose. Like, she only came when it was absolutely necessary. So, I hope that's the case. Well, I guess we'll just have to try and divulge when the trailer eventually comes out and see where it goes from there. A lot more, obviously, to still look at about the Eternals. It's just an in-depth character look at, whatever we decide to call it.
Character review or whatever.
Yeah, maybe review. We'll go with that. But yeah, I think that's everything. So, thank you very much for watching or listening. If you're on YouTube, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Check out the link on the screen right now and in the description, where you can find a link to Care's channel. And thank you all for watching, for tuning in for the episode 4.
4. I think we said it was 4.
I'm pretty sure it was 4. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.